Hello, everybody, and welcome to the most disappointing episode of the 40k Badcast thus far, episode 70. My name is Dan Boyd, and I am joined, as always, by a guy who's 6 feet away in the real world, but in our hearts, always, social McDistancing.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's real good. I'm happy about that. That's very topical. And I was going to say, this isn't necessarily the most disappointing Badcast episode of all time. This is the afterglow episode.
The refractory period, as you called it.
This is the having a cigarette episode.
Yeah.
I
think we mentioned this in
episode 69.
Which, I mean, listen, gang, I'm not going to get to use that too much more. So I'm just going to use it when I can. And if you don't like it, well, I mean, there are other podcasts, and this one's free.
That's it. You're not going to get the chance to make another sort of zinger dinger on that sort of scale until we get to episode 420, and that's a long ways away. That is
a ways away. Though I was just thinking, this is our 70th episode. That's a lot of episodes, my dude.
Yeah, that is, well, if I know my math right, and I don't, that is more than 70 hours of podcast that we've made.
A lot more, because we cannot keep our episodes anywhere close to how long they need to be.
No, they get more and more like the prodigal size of these episodes grows and grows with time. Save for the one time I think we came in under 45 minutes.
I got to tell you, bud, this is a weird situation for me, because I'm feeling good today, but I have so many reasons to not be feeling good today.
Oh, I'm emphatically not feeling good today. This is the only thing I'm looking forward to. So let's stretch this out so my day isn't a total fucking wash.
I am supposed to be in Portugal on my honeymoon.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, you are.
Yeah. Keen-eared listeners might be like, wait, you didn't just get married? No, I got married in June of 2019, but then my mom passed away right after. So we did not get to go on honeymoon, as my life became, you've been through this. I'm sure many of our listeners have, but when somebody dies, there's a lot to do. So on top of that, I did break my foot. We mentioned it in the, Patreon bonus episode this month for April, which is free and anyone can download and listen to, because we're trying to, it sucks right now, so we're trying to help everybody out with another hour of content. What else happened? One of my favorite musicians, John Prine, died, I think yesterday, of coronavirus related issues. He was in his 70s, and he had throat cancer, I believe. So he was immunosuppressed, and he has unfortunately passed away. What else is going on? Oh, my coworkers have been dicks lately. The thing that's killing me right now is my broken foot, because I can't fucking do anything.
Well, that's the thing. All the other shit out there, or at least not all of it, but a lot of the other shit out there is kind of abstract. It's like,
this morning, my coworkers, they annoy me sometimes, but they were, one of my coworkers was talking about travel insurance. And how they were upset about travel insurance. And I bought this honeymoon trip, and now it's canceled and I'm not going. And I'm sort of just in limbo as to like, hey, am I going to get my thousands of dollars back for this trip that I can't go on? So yeah, it's just like this morning, it just immediately hit me like, ooh, everything sucks. And it's like 80 degrees in the DC area today, beautiful out. And I just can't really enjoy it that much because I'm in a fucking walking boot.
Yeah, I get that.
It's brutal. However,
I
am feeling okay. And I'm happy to be podcasting with you.
I mean, again, I'm happy to be podcasting with you. And while I haven't gotten the chance to go outside today, the other day when we were walking around the massive graveyard that's very close to my house, I did go by a gravestone that just said "but" on it. But. So, not everything's bad.
Can't all be bad. Can't all be bad. All right. Well, enough complaining for one evening. Let's get into the Auspex here and talk about what's on our hobby radar. And I've got fantastic news to kick this off.
Hell yeah.
I have finished the tournament roster of the Baja Blasters.
Get it.
This has been a project that I started in January. And it took me a really, really, really long time to do the first 6. The second 6 were done in just a couple of weeks, which is wild to me. But I've done the tournament roster. 12 Baja Blasters are finished. I am so happy with how they turned out. I have posted pictures on all my social media. Y'all can get at it and take a look. But that's not all Campbell.
Woo. What
I
else you got?
also finished Elven Star Player Eldrill Sidewinder. And this is one of my favorite models I've ever painted. It is a fantastic sculpt, very, very understated, especially for like Games Workshop. Well, technically it's a Forge World sculpt.
It's Forge World,
but it's
modern Games Workshop. Yeah.
It's understated. It has a ton of skin on it. I love, love, love painting skin. A lot of people hate it, but I love it because it's blending time, baby. And you get to get some really cool shades out of it. And just, I think I did a really, really fun job on the painting. You and I were talking about it color wise. Now, listeners, if you're at your computer or you're on your phone or whatever, go over to Twitter, go to at DB_sleazy, and you can see pictures of it there. You and I were talking about the color scheme before this.
Yeah.
And so why don't you tell the listeners what you recommended to me?
Well, the thing with your team is the Baja Blasters. They are painted not unlike a Mountain Dew Baja Blast from our favorite fine dining establishment, Taco Bell. And the thing with the star players, you want them to stand out. You want them to not look like the rest of them, which is kind of the green skin, the white hair that represents the fizz.
Well, it's a turquoise. It's a turquoise skin.
It is a turquoise. And then like the purple and orange just because they're beautiful secondary colors. And my initial thing was like, okay, go for Mountain Dew Code Red. You keep it in the Mountain Dew soft drink family here.
Yeah.
And we kind of went back and forth about it, but it was very hard to not make that color scheme kind of seem like a Christmas tree when we were talking it through.
Yes.
So I thought maybe let's pivot to just a more traditional Mountain Dew, which Mountain Dew Classic, if you will, where it'd be more around greens and like dark greens to blacks to whites and so on. But I think the only thing you really took from that.
No, I tried that.
Yeah.
I tried that. So I got the Eldrill done up in the Baja Blast skin color because I really like the skin color, and I think it has been my favorite part of that team so far.
God, you could do a nice Sylvaneth army.
Yeah, right. Was that part of it? And because I like how, a lot of times fantasy elves are, just white people.
Yeah, the whitest of white people.
Right. And I wanted to get away from that, and I wanted to make them look more inhuman. So and then the whole idea of the Taco Bell Baja Blast just sort of coagulated from that. Like what would be a cool color to paint elf skin?
Yeah.
So I wanted to stick with that. So I got it in there. I got the skin. I got and I was like, let's think about some neutral colors. There's black and white represented into the Mountain Dew logo. So maybe I can do some of the cloth on him in like a quartered black and white scheme.
Yep.
Got that. And I was like, all right, there's red in the Mountain Dew logo. So let me do the armor in red, and I can do the highlights in green. And so I did that.
Ooh. And
it looked like a gay pride Christmas parade. Which
I mean,
okay,
that sounds like a great time. I'll be honest.
It's not bad. It's not bad. Like a pride parade at Christmas, fantastic. I love the idea. But on the model, it was just so many colors and they were all clashing. It was not a good look. So I was like, all right, I need to refine this a little bit. So I went from red to orange on the armor, and I threw in some purple on his pants there. They were originally green, and so it's complementary to the Baja Blasters with the turquoise, the purple, and the orange represented. But there's a lot more black and white, and there's a lot more skin showing. So it stands out, but it is not too divergent from the original color scheme. And I really, really like it.
As well, you should. It looks dope as hell.
I think.
And the one comment I had that I think really did stick though. No, it's a positive. It's positive.
Thank goodness.
I'm gonna say nothing but nice things about your beautiful elf boy here. Is the pattern on the mohawk? Because like I've done that sort of thing where it's like striped sort of mohawk colors. I've done that on a bunch of like Space Marine characters just because they always have the big horsehair brush sort of things. I did that for Ultramarines all the time. And the black and white one on him makes him stand out and just looks super good on top of that.
Yeah, so you actually gave me the inspiration for that.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like the thing of mine that stuck.
You sent over a picture of one of your crests on your Ultramarines helmets, and I was like, I was originally thinking of doing a fade from white to black on the hair, like black at the top and white at the bottom.
Yep.
And I was like, and using Nuln Oil and glazing to get through that. But you gave me that photo, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm just doing this instead. This will be way easier, also.
Yeah, it really is. It's honestly, especially if you can get two colors you can wash with the same wash, It's really nice.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Highly recommend it.
So very, very happy with him. I have a little more hobby progress here. I've got the 4 remaining Baja Blasters are assembled and based.
Nice.
Now, a Blood Bowl roster can have a maximum of 16 players. So in a league where you're going to be playing with more than just like a 11 or 12 person tournament roster, you could potentially get up to the maximum of 16. And with elves, more on this in a bit, they get hurt easily.
Yeah.
So you need to have a couple of extra bodies sitting around. So I was like, you know what? I plan as when this pandemic outbreak calms down, I plan on starting up a Blood Bowl league locally. So I want to be able to have the full team there if I want. But here's the thing. I didn't start painting these guys because I loved painting one mini. So I grabbed from my deep reserve of primed, based, and ready to go Raven Guard miniatures. I grabbed the Phobos Lieutenant from Shadowspear.
Oh, nice. That model's so good.
Yeah, and I have him on my painting desk. I have all of the base coats and undercoats down, and I am going to be getting through this guy probably pretty quick because painting one model, it goes by pretty fucking quick.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in a pretty similar place to you as far as this goes. Like most of my hobby progress is individual models.
Yeah, it's a lot easier because you're not batch painting. And batch painting is what killed me in the original 6 Baja Blasters.
Yeah.
Where it was just it's 6 models on a foreign color scheme, foreign to me at least. It just took way too long. So right now I'm loving the idea of painting one model at a time. So I'm going to kick this guy out before I do the last 4 of the Baja Blasters. And then that project I can close the book. So That's it for me for hobby progress. Now, we talked a lot about my hobby progress, but what we're going to do here is talk about your hobby progress, and I'm going to feel like a piece of shit compared to what you've done.
Hey, numbers aren't everything, all right? And even then, I don't think I'm going to talk as in-depth about anything because I feel like most of my paint schemes are just I kind of just feel them, Like I don't really think about them that much. I just kind of go fuck off.
Oh my God, I spend so much time thinking about paint schemes.
Yeah, no, I like look at a picture, go cool, and just kind of stipulate from there. So first off, I was going through the notes on my phone, and I found one that I'm pretty sure referred to our favorite halfling slopper, Big Cum.
Yes, Bigly Cum. Come on, Bigly
Cum. I'm sorry. I didn't use his full first name. But the note just said, without any context, by the way, it said, quote, I had to get the sloppy Hobbit. And I guarantee I wrote that really late at night after going to a few breweries in Oregon. But I knew exactly what I was talking about. So I think it's an efficient statement. I had to get the sloppy Hobbit.
Fuck, I love when the pull quote from the episode comes in the beginning.
I also like that means I can probably use episode art from even things I've actually painted.
Oh my God.
So, but I finished Bigly Cum, the sloppy Hobbit last time. But this time around, I finished my favorite Meat Fist, Mungo Meat Fist himself, the Goliath Zerker. Which also made me think, Mungo Meat Fist, which makes you think Mungo Jerry, which makes me think somebody at Forge World or the Specialist Game Studio is a Cats fan.
Now, hold up.
All right.
Mungo Jerry is also a band.
Okay,
They're
but Mungo
the
Meat
in the
Fist came before the band,
summertime.
I assume.
Do.
Yeah.
We've talked about this in our Patreon episode, and they're
Exactly.
English too. Mungo Jerry, the band. So
Well,
it might
so
be
is the
that an English person likes an English band.
Okay, because I was really wondering if I have my Mungo Meat Fist, where is my Rumple Taser?
Where is your Rumple Taser? That's a great question. I got to tell you, as far as that horrible movie went, Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser's song, Mungo Jerry and Rumple Teaser, is amongst the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life.
Mungo, the most embarrassing things you've ever seen in your life. So I did actually paint
Mungo.
up.
Hey, whoa. Yeah. Oh,
There
good
it
job, bud.
Yeah, it's all I'm good at is nameplay. So I finished the Gleiserker Mungo Meat Fist.
I've seen pictures of the model. It looks fantastic. Very much loyal to your Goliath scheme. Fits in very well. Absolutely love it.
Well, thank you. It was, I actually had a kind of an issue where I glazed the whole thing with the skin tone after I finished painting the skin.
Yeah.
And I didn't thin the glaze enough, so it just ended up filling in like dwarf flesh, whatever that color is, in every single recess. And I had to paint the skin from scratch, which really pissed me off.
That's gotta suck, yeah.
Especially on a model with so much skin with which to paint.
Yeah.
But I knocked it out pretty quick. But
How do you feel about painting skin?
I love it. That's why I play Goliaths.
Okay.
It's why I do, like, it's why one of the reasons I like all the, all the Daves to Darkness. Why I love all those, like, just buff dudes. It's not for any other reasons that I won't get into right now. It's because I like painting skin.
So I've been, reading online and stuff from our friends and our peers or whatever. A lot of people hate painting skin.
It's intimidating, like, because you've never seen what a Space Marine's power armor looks like in person. Because that's not something that actually exists.
Okay.
But you've seen a million faces and you've rocked them all. So you know what human faces look like. So that's a reason why even faces especially really intimidate people, because there's such a focal point. And if you don't give them the attention they deserve, people kind of notice. And a lot of people might think that there's more significance to them than there even really is. So they kind of just avoid models with bare skin at all. I know I did when I was younger. I'm looking at the Space Marine captain I painted when I was like 11 up there. And his skin is just one coat of Ironwind Metals, like peach flesh color. And it looks awful. Yep. But I remember it taking immense courage to just slop that on over the black primer when I was a kid.
That's a really good point, because that's how I used to feel about painting skin and helmetless characters also. I was terrified of it because, again, it seems so hard to paint a face well.
Yeah, because it's something you're familiar with.
Now that I've done it so many times, not only is it easy, I think, but it's like it makes the model like even it doesn't have to be the most detailed and most perfect paint job ever for a face, but like just a good face. And I'm not talking eyes, because I don't fucking paint eyes. We've been over this.
I do on every single model. I'm a madman. I'm aware.
I honestly think there are a couple of people that pull off eyes well. And I don't mean this as an insult. You do a good job, but I don't think it adds much. My cat is here asking for petting. I don't think it adds much to the face in a lot of situations. Now, there's some situations where you've got like a real big face or a monster where you got to get in there and do the eyes. Yeah. But I don't know. Like our friend Peter, he does a really good job of eyes, but he does it backwards. He does a black circle with a white spot in the middle.
That's kind of what you're supposed to do. You should paint the eye slit, because really it's a slit at that size. Just paint that black and dot in each side with white, and you got it. Like, it's already outlined for you. The pupil's already done for you, and you don't have the problem where if you try to dot in pupils, you tend to get a lot of guys who look very surprised.
Yeah.
As you could ask the regiment of guard I painted in college, who all look like they just walked in on their parents having sex. They all look terrified.
A little wall-eyed. Yeah. No, yeah. I think that if you can get like a good tone down with a wash and a couple of highlights and some glazing done just to bring up some colors, and like that's all you got to do, and it takes a model from good to great.
Okay, actually, I'm gonna share with you right now my quick Campbell pro tip for painting faces.
Share it. This is great. This is great content. I love it.
This actually is useful content for some people, I imagine. This works better on lighter skin tones than it does on darker skin tones, but you can definitely transmute a lot of these techniques over. So, like, okay, you paint your base color for the skin, you highlight up for the skin.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Now you use like a thin down purple wash in the eyes.
Yes.
Because like just to kind of give the eyelids some
You
shape.
taught me this, and I do it
Yep.
every time.
Then a thin down red glaze on the nose. If you go too thick, it looks like they're drunk. So when I had a regiment of free guild guard, whatever, free company militia for Warhammer Fantasy, who are supposed to be a bunch of drunk assholes, I did like a heavy red glaze in their nose, but usually I just go for a thin red glaze in their nose. Then if you want to, you could do a thin purple glaze in their lower lip or a thin like carrotburg crimson glaze in their lower lip.
Yep.
And the last one I'll do is the not smile lines, but frown lines, for lack of a better term, the vertical lines going up and down around the mouth.
Yeah.
If you do really thin, really careful, like fine brush Agrax Earthshade, just to give that a little bit more depth, and then highlight everything, your faces look fantastic. It's what I do for every face I do, no matter what the skin tone is or no matter how minor the character is. And it does not take that long once you've done it a couple times, and it ratchets them up a few levels without that much work.
And you do a very, very good job on faces. So
Thank you. It's my favorite part to paint.
So gang, if you're having trouble painting faces, feel free to email us. Both of us have a lot of experience doing it. Both of us are big time fans of painting faces and having bare-headed or bare-armed or bare-torsoed or even bare legs.
Yeah,
just not the bare no special
not
zone.
the bare necessities, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So if you're feeling a little anxiety about that, give us an email and we'll help you work it out because we love you. And just remember, you don't have to paint eyes.
No, you don't have to. I do, because that's my bag. I know other people don't. I know Dylan doesn't, and his stuff looks good. So
I don't.
Do what you do.
But then again, I also paint all the sides of every miniature, even the parts that nobody will ever see, because I can't not do it.
Yeah. So getting back to actual hobby progress.
Tell me.
That I'm getting out of the
This is
Campbell's
long.
Pro Tip hobby zone.
We've been talking about this for a while. Shit.
We got no games played, so we may as well make up the time somewhere. You know.
Don't assume anything over here.
Okay. So post Stimmer or post Mungo Meat Fist, I did get my own little Rumple Taser.
Mungo Cherry.
Well, I have a Rumple Taser because I built and painted the Stimmers and Forgeborn, who have the big arc welders.
Yeah.
So I figure one of those two, she can be Rumple Taser if I want to run them together.
Okay.
But those were plenty of fun to paint. I just did the exact same scheme I did for my old Goliath gang. I fortunately had the document up, so I was able to just pull out all the colors. The models go together pretty well. They paint real easy. Nothing but nice things to say about them. They're modern Necromunda kits.
Yep.
But then I started getting into weirdos, and this is where I got to have some fun. So I built and primed Gore Halfhorn and Grundle Scruncherson in like a day. And then I painted Grundle Scruncherson in a day. I based on the old Rogue Trader box art for Space Dwarfs. And
Nice.
It was so fun to put together this wackadoo color scheme and just have fun with it.
Have you tweeted this out?
Not yet. I haven't tweeted out pictures of almost any of these, really.
God damn it.
Dude, here's the thing. By the time this episode goes up, you're going to see pictures of them.
Well, I haven't seen pictures of them.
Well, let me just fucking boop a picture at you, my dude. If you don't mind waiting all of a second and a half for me to
On
drag.
Discord.
Oh, I know what I'm doing.
Not on Skype. Don't fucking send me pictures on Skype.
Jesus, never do anything on Skype. It's my favorite like half abandoned Microsoft Legacy program.
There's like 5 ways Campbell and I talk to each other.
I know, and none of them are centralized at all.
I mean, it's mostly Discord these days.
Yeah, it is mostly Discord these days. We live in the 21st century.
Look at this guy.
He is all caution stripes and primary colors, and he is my friend, and I love him.
Oh, that is awesome. He's got a blue helmet with a he's got a little bit of your Ultramarines in him, and he's got a little bit of your Goliaths in him.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I kind of wanted to do all my favorite things, which are painting blue and painting caution stripes. I can see the red
glaze on the nose now that you've mentioned it.
I did a pretty robust glaze because he's a dwarf. Dwarves
they drink a lot. Yeah.
About to say, I don't mean to perpetuate any stereotypes about Dwarden and squats, but they're known to be a bit boozy.
So did you finish Gore Halfhorn also?
That's the thing. It took me 1 day to do Grundles Grunnerson. It took me 2 to do Gore Halfhorn just because I had actual work to do. And they were a ton of fun to do. Again, just like 2 palette cleansers. Gore Halfhorn's scheme is based pretty heavily on, there was like one Beastmen model with like red armor and like a white tabard with an axe over his head. I remember seeing from an old Warhammer Fantasy book. Nice, and I always thought that looked dope, so I wanted to reproduce that in the sci-fi sort of setting because there weren't really any examples of Rogue Trader era painted Beastmen from GW or from Heavy Metal or anything like that. Yeah. I'm sure there are, but I haven't seen them. So I just went with something else I knew and loved. So again, those 2 guys were a ton of fun. I've had them in my backlog for years now. So getting to them now, one thing we talk about in our little bonus episode that's going to be out for everybody that's available for free is like now's the time to break out the fun stuff that you don't feel like an obligation to paint. Oh, yeah. And that's where all this stuff started coming out. So
I like how you threw some numbers on Gore Halfhorn. Like he's a Blood Bowl player. He's number 27.
That's from an AdMech thing, like an AdMech transfer sheet.
Yeah, he looks really good. That is an excellent paint job.
Thank you. He's ex-guard, so I figured I'd just kind of stick that in there.
I'm going to have to refer back to these photos when I start painting my Gore Halfhorn and Grendel Grendelson to make sure I don't accidentally copy your schemes.
Just invert all the colors. Nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
So beyond that, I built Ragnir Gunstein, or Gunstein. I built the Ammo Jack, and I built the Dome Runner. And I think the Dome Runner was supposed to be a rat skin because she has like scavenged gear. She has rat skulls and an actual entire rat hanging off her back. And I think if that's what rat skins actually look like, as opposed to really offensive Native American stereotypes, I am here for it. Because like this sort of like Mad Max like skull sort of look, I think is really dope.
Yeah. I mean, I would like the idea of Ratskins to disappear. Mm-hmm. Just like how they stopped calling it Spook and started calling it Ghast.
Ghast. Yeah.
Yeah. I would like a full retcon on that personally, but you know, we'll see.
I'll take my victories where I can get them. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And last thing I got going on is the other night, Dylan's been hosting these like hobby hangouts on Saturday nights with a bunch of like my local crew, the Jersey crew, the New York crew. You're in there too. A few other folks are in there too.
Yeah.
And I think Rob was calling me a coward for not showing up. So I showed up.
Yeah.
So I showed up just to say hello and ended up hanging out for an hour and a half. And the only thing on my desk that was primed was the squad of Intercessor veterans I've had primed since November. So those guys are like halfway done now. So I'm working on them right now.
Yeah. So you posted an in progress picture, I think today, and they look really good.
Thank you.
Big surprise.
Having a ton of fun with the faces. They're my favorite part of the models. They're the only thing that's actually done on the models.
All right. Are we done with Hobby Progress?
We are done with Hobby Progress. We're a third of the way through the show.
Any games?
I've played a bunch of Warhammer Total War. Nope, I've never played Chaos before, and they're hard as hell. That's all I got. That's all I got. That's all I've got.
We're not talking about video games.
Okay. Even the Warhammer ones?
We're not talking about them.
Okay. That sentence and a half is all I got then.
I'm sorry. We could talk about them, but guess what? I'm putting my fucking my broken foot down. Not talking about it. But what we will talk about is the game of Blood Bowl I played against myself last Thursday.
Who won?
Well, I did. So
congratulations.
That's hilarious. You know what that gets? You know what that comment gets, Campbell?
I think I know, and I think it's a 9-second sound effect. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
A 9-second sound effect.
Oh, it's 14, right?
Yes.
That's okay. I'm no longer saluting every time I hear that sound effect start. But that is where I began.
Okay, I did play a game of Blood Bowl against myself. Again, it took me like 4 months to get this fucking Blood Bowl team done, and I was supposed to go to Adepticon and play in a Blood Bowl tournament, and I was itching for some dice rolling. And I got to tell you, bud, it felt great to just physically roll some fucking dice.
I believe that.
All right, Jesus so Christ, I played my new Baja Blasters against my old Red Fangs, the Orc squad. Mm-hmm. And it was a lot of fun. It was really good. The Orcs did win by a score of 2-1. A very orky score in Blood Bowl. Orcs are generally low scoring games because they're slow. And it started off bad for the elves on the first turn, where one of my catchers got murdered, got killed on the first block of the game. And I was like, oh, so this is how elves play. So, elves have low armor. And the way armor works in Blood Bowl, you have an armor value. Elves have armor value 7 for the most part. And when an elf or when a character rather gets knocked down, you roll against their armor to see if they get hurt. If you roll above their armor value, then you have to roll on the injury table. And it's like 2 to 7 is stunned. You just turn them face down and they lose a turn, basically. 8 and 9 is knocked out. So they go out of the game, but they have a chance to come back in. And then 10, 11, 12 is casualty. They are out of the game. And they may not come back in. So the first thing that happens is one of my catchers gets a casualty. And the armor 7 is rough times, but you have to play extremely carefully with elves if you want them to stay alive through the match. At one point in the game, there were 5 elves in the casualty box and 1 in the knocked out box. So of my 12 elves that I had, only 6 were on the field.
Welp.
And of course the orcs were fine because they're orcs and they're extremely tough. But it was close. 2 to 1 is not, it was not like a orc scored 2 early and then that was that. The elves scored in their first 2 turns, the old 2-turn touchdown. And then it just turned into a fight the way orcs like it. So you have to play smart with the elves. It was a lot of fun. And, I mean, I enjoyed doing it though. Into the second half, I was like, all right, I want to finish this up. This is getting kind of old. So I might do it again, but then again, I might not.
I understand that. I've definitely seen a few people in the Goon Discord playing 40k games against themselves, which is, I think playing a Blood Bowl game against yourself is one thing, but setting up 2 entire armies and playing a whole game against yourself is a different commitment.
I will absolutely not be doing that. That sounds awful. I'm sorry.
Now, there is that amazing video from the 70s of, he was Grand Moff Tarkin, Peter Cushing, playing Little Wars with himself in his study, where it's just him like lovingly admiring his Napoleonic troops, taking an exceedingly long drag from a cigarette, while the narrator is like, this is a game for smarter boys and those smarter little girls. And it's a fantastic thing. Please look it out. It's fantastic. And that's what I'm going to be if this quarantine keeps going for another 6 months.
You're going to start smoking?
I was gonna say,
die. You would immediately die.
Me?
Yes.
Me? All right. I run. My mom smokes. No, none of these things are going to be good for me. No, I am not going to start smoking. I'll probably just have a bunch of weedy ass candy cigarettes.
You know, I smoked for 9 years.
I know you did, and you just quit like that from what you told me.
I quit cold turkey.
Hell yeah.
I didn't want to be a smoker anymore, so I said, fuck this, and I stopped smoking.
It was a good life choice.
It was a good life choice. I don't like to, honestly, I don't like to brag about it too much because it was such a bad idea to start smoking in the beginning. So I feel like I just stopped doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, about to say you're awarding yourself for no longer owning yourself.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get on to new stuff. We have quite a bit here too. God damn, this Auspex is long. Sorry, gang. So they had 2 online previews, March 28th and April 4th, and they put out a bunch of stuff. So let's go through it. Online preview 1 for March 28th.
So first off, I was kind of disappointed because they said this is going to be like the reveals to end all reveals, and this is going to be like the biggest reveal ever because it's the one for Adepticon. Yeah. And only after the fact did they kind of let it go that, oh no, we're splitting the Adepticon reveals into like 3 or 4 weeks of these things.
Yeah, they sold it real high. They said this was going to be great, and it was. I mean, it's better than nothing. Let's be honest.
Oh yeah, I think when all of this is said and done, and all of them are together, it'll probably be closer to what they were saying it was. But I get, instead of having one big drop and business as usual continues after that, it's a bunch of little things. So people keep talking about hams and keep having things to be excited about. Which honestly, having something I can be excited about, even if it is a little too early in the morning for my taste reveal session on a Twitch stream. I'll take it. I'll fucking take it right now.
So the first thing they talked about was a new Warhammer cartoon.
Yeah, the Storyforge Hammer and Bolter animation sizzle reel.
Death's Hand, I believe it's called, with about some assassins. And I got to tell you, I thought it looked great. It had a very JLU, Justice League Unlimited look to it, the animation, which is a style that I appreciate.
Yep.
Which I believe a bunch of that stuff comes from, has roots in Bruce Timm's treatment of Batman the Animated Series back in the day, which I have on DVD.
As do I.
I'm a fucking nerd. And I liked it a lot. I thought it looked great.
Yeah, it looks somewhere between the Bruce Timm Paul Dini sort of Batman style and the Black Dynamite Adult Swim show style.
Yep.
And I'm pretty into it. And they then mentioned like a bunch of Black Library authors are going to be contributing scripts to this whole thing, or already have. So you have people like Aaron Dembski Bowden, Chris Ray, Andy Smiley, and so on. So
oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about this, but Aaron Dembski Bowden reads my Goonhammer articles.
Yeah, he does. That fucking rips.
So on Goonhammer, somebody was trying to get an interview with ADB. Goonhammer.com, the number one place for Warhammer stuff on the internet, blah, 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 whatever. And they asked him, like, do you read Goonhammer? And he's like, oh, yeah, I like Goonhammer a lot, especially the Necromunda articles. And then Tyler, who is our person who does the outreach and was talking to ADB about this, sent the screenshot of that over, and I did about 6 backflips.
Yeah, no, I was like, I saw he even like reposted on Facebook too, and was like, Goonhammer's Necromunda content is awesome. And I'm just like, oh my God, the senpai isn't noticing me, but he's noticing my friends, and that's almost as good.
Well, the friend he noticed does do a podcast with you. So maybe at some point we can get a little coattail riding. Anyways, Death's Hand. Here's a hot take.
Yep.
I think this art style is better than Angels of Death.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't want to cast shade at Angels of Death. That comes
We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But
I think it's a lot more distinctive.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot more memorable.
Yep.
And like I said, one of my favorite animators is Genndy Tartakovsky, and his art style is that very graphical, very like it looks good while it's still as good as it does when it's in motion, and it's the same sort of thing. Like I've seen a million photorealistic 3D animated things, and they can look good, but highly stylized is always going to be more memorable for me.
Yeah. All right. AOS had a reveal, and I really only want to mention this because I like the video so much. They revealed the giant war cow made of rock armed with a massive hammer.
Yeah.
Which I don't even remember what the fuck this thing is called. It doesn't matter. It's a giant war cow made of rock armed with a massive hammer. And they had a lot of fun with the video, made it look like a game show. And this is so far the only thing from the new High Elf line that I think is good.
Really?
Yeah, I guess they're like spearmen and archers have been good, but they released this stone cow thing, which is like a giant walking monolith kind of deal. Looks great. The empty suit of armor, who's still alive somehow, also looks good.
Yep.
But then there is a unit of troops that are, I guess, based on this design also. Who have like big, hats? Who have tall hats, like top hats, but then with like longhorn cow horns on top of them, and they have big mallets. Yeah. And it is amongst the stupidest looking things I've ever seen in a miniature.
Counterpoint. What do haughty white folks play on their sun-kissed lawns? Croquet. And these look like croquet mallets. And who is haughtier and whiter than most portrayals of elves? Nobody. I think it's very on brand.
Campbell, this shit is brown, and this peanut butter is also brown. If I combine the two, because they're both brown, that means they go together, and it's a good thing, right?
All right, I think I have come around on the elves with hammers. I think the giant hats are like, what if we took Warhammer Fantasy's giant hats and made them bigger and wilder and weirder? And that's where they're at.
The giant hats on Chaos Dwarves were not good. The giant hats on High Elves are even worse. I'm sorry. It's bad. Most of that range does absolutely nothing for me. But hey, guess what? I don't have to play it. So
no, you don't. You don't.
Anyways, moving on. They have released pictures of the new Fabius Bile model.
Fabulous Bill returns.
And I got to tell you, bud, they have knocked this one out of the park. It is based on an old Mark Gibbons illustration. And whoo, buddy, It's good. It's a really, really good model. They did not overdo it. There's no hero rock whatsoever. Wow. Like, sometimes it's okay to like hold back a little bit.
He's understated for such a major character, or at least such a long running character.
You don't have to have like somebody jumping off some bullshit. Flying through the air, fucking cloths and streamers and sashes flying everywhere, or somebody who's held up by their hair. You don't need to have that all the time. Sometimes you can just have an iconic model in a cool pose walking around.
Well, I saw somebody in a Facebook group, that's my first mistake, basically complaining that they're like, oh, compared to Abaddon or New Primarch, this guy sucks. And I'm like, because he's not Abaddon or New Primarch. He's a surgeon. And
Abaddon, let's be honest, Abaddon's model by current Games Workshop standards is rather restrained.
And that's one of the reasons it's so good.
Yeah. I think that it captures, I think, the spirit of Fabius Bile also.
Yeah.
He's very arrogant. He's very superior. And he is clearly one of the most intelligent beings in the 40k universe. And his model shows it.
And you know what's, I'd say, almost even better than him is his little helper.
Oh, yes.
The weirdos. Like, I want
Creeper.
I want the Creeper, and I want the Dark Apostles little helpers to just hang out together. I want those guys. I want more of that sort of shit.
I bet that's a terrible conversation. I bet they're so boring.
It's mostly just hissing and grunting.
Yeah. Well, huge fan of the Fabius Bile model, and I can't imagine a situation where they could have made a better model for that one, honestly.
No, he's exactly the update you really want.
Yeah. All right. Moving to Warcry. Again, Warcry coming out with some of the coolest models around for a game that, until they get like a more fully fleshed out campaign system, I have no interest in participating in. The Flame Friends, I've been calling them.
Oh, I was calling them the Hot Boys.
The Hot Boys. That's better.
Yeah, the Scions of the Flame.
Yeah, they look really good. Really good.
They look really fucking good. I really hope they have good rules for AOS. Yeah. I want to get a bunch of them.
Well,
they won't. No Warcry Warband does, but
make an engaging system, a campaign system for Warcry, and then chaboy, I'll get into it. All right, for Heresy, for 30K, we have a new Primarch. And this time it's one I don't care about. It's Lionel Johnson.
I mean, I don't give a shit about his character, but I think his model is really dope.
Model's really good. They have not really fucked up any of these Forge World Primarch models.
Yeah, I'd say everyone reflects the character of their Primarch, and that's why Lorgar's is the worst.
I don't think the Lorgar model is bad at all. Honestly, I think it's fine.
It's the worst of the Primarchs. I'd say it's the least. How about this? It's still a wonderfully skeleton model, but I'd say it's the least impressive of the Primarch models.
Sure, whatever. I don't care about this.
I'm just dunking on Lorgar.
Yeah, whatever. The sculpt is good. The model looks great. Too bad he's a Dark Angel.
All right, it's like, all right, you're like, I'm gonna ignore your dismissive comment and make my own dismissive comment about something else.
Yeah, well,
cool. Which head do you prefer, the helmeted or unhelmeted?
Why don't you guess? And I want you to reference our earlier conversation.
I'm just bringing this up so listeners can play along at home. Of course, they like the unhelmeted one. He's got a cool beard. He's got cool hair. His face is amazing. And I didn't know this, but the Primarch models are still sculpted by hand, which nothing else in GW is. Everything else is all.
Well, aren't most Forge World stuff sculpted by hand?
Nope, not anymore. There was it's all CAD designed. I remember the last GW model that was hand sculpted was the Tech Priest Dominus by Jess Goodwin for the AdMech range.
Yeah.
And pretty much everything at the time and everything since has been CAD designed except for the Primarchs because they're all done by Sam Egan.
Okay, cool.
And that's just what he does. Nice. And he takes like 6 months or a year or two to do each one.
That's fine.
But his work fucking rules, so I'm all for it.
All right. At the end of this stream, they capped it off with their big announcement. Lieutenant Amulius is available for purchase.
To be dispatched whenever.
This is the event-only plastic Primaris Lieutenant, who looks good. Good model.
Yep.
I have one.
I think it's a real good model, honestly. I enjoyed painting mine an awful lot.
But talk about an underwhelming big announcement at the end of this thing, huh?
You'll notice a theme going through these, that the capstone in each of these is not necessarily the most exciting.
Yeah, I know what they're trying to do, but it's just like I was on the stream watching it with the rest of the Goonhammer guys at this point, and it was just kind of a wet fart at the end of the stream, but
yeah, that's something you just kind of like drop in the middle and be like, oh, by the way, here's a nice thing. That's not your like, here's a momentous reveal. It's like, no, it's cool that you can order him if you don't have him. Like, it's a good model, and if you want him, it's awesome that anyone can get him right now. But this isn't like your big send off. This isn't your big thing to take away is, oh, I can spend $35 on a model I've been seeing for actual years now.
Yeah.
No, they should have put him in the middle and ended with the lion and been like, all right, cool.
Yep.
Because the lion is a way bigger thing to send off on.
I agree. All right, let's move on to the second online preview that came out April 4th, just a mere 4 days ago. They have are releasing a high elf battle box, and the only reason I'm mentioning this is because all the good elf models from this current range are in this one box.
And it has good dice. They're actually good faction specific dice.
I did see the little video that they made, another fun video. The video team over there, as a guy who works on a video team, game recognized game. You know what I mean? They do a great job. This is all the good models of that range, minus the giant war cows, with all the things you need to start an army, such as the codex. No, I guess not codex, the
battle tome.
Battle tome, thank you. The cards, aka war scrolls, the play aids, all the stuff you need in one place, which is a cool thing.
I hope they keep doing that. I think they're gonna keep doing it. It clearly worked for the sisters, and this is their next one they're doing. So, yeah, keep doing it, GW.
The most important release or preview came out at this moment. The new Tree Men for Blood Bowl for halflings and wood elves. These are some great little models. I think they're plastic models.
Yeah, they definitely are. They can be built either wood elfy or halflingy.
Right, and there's some great little bits and pieces around on these because they're trees, obviously. They have Blood Bowl trophies embedded within the trees that you can see, which I thought was a very nice touch. There is a squirrel named Acorn, but spelled like the Chaos God Corn with an A in front of it, who sits on the halfling version of the tree. There's a little sprite in the wood elf version. There's like armor and a helmet on the wood elf version too.
Yep.
It's great. They're fantastic. I absolutely love them.
They have the real sort of it's kind of fairy tale-esque sort of an aesthetic, like that very, because there's a lot of that in the old world sort of setting, and I think they really play with that and they get a bit whimsical with it, and I think that's a really fun and
if you want whimsy, one of the only places in Games Workshop's products where there is a true plethora of whimsy is Blood Bowl, where everything is fun. Blood Bowl is all about fun. All the character design is fun. The backstory is fun and funny, and everything's played for laughs. That's the place to be. Blood Bowl, everybody should play it.
Okay.
All right, we got some new word bearers for 30K. And I have on my notes, it says new word bearers in parentheses, virgins for the perfect game. Now, well, I will say, despite being virgins, these models definitely fuck.
Yeah, these models are dope as hell. Like, if you play 40K and you want these guys,
get them.
Custom suited for it.
They're so good.
They are low key some of the best models they've done in a long time.
Yeah, I'm like Rob Jones, our friend. He immediately was raving about how good they were, and I think you probably heard a little bit of that on the hangout that we did last Saturday.
Yeah. And with good reason, too. They're dope minis.
I'm not going to buy them because I don't play 30K and I don't play Chaos, but they look fantastic.
And when
the paint job, the Forge World paint jobs, they're so fucking good.
Well, the thing is, Forge World paint jobs are it's flipping a coin. And this is a case where you definitely got heads up and you got some gorgeous paint jobs and gorgeous minis, and not like the
floating potato from
floating potato or any of the models that came out around the same time as him, where it's like, oh yeah, was it 3:30 on a Friday and you had to get those out by 5? All right.
Fuck. Oh, I gotta paint a potato. Yeah, these things are great. They have a ton of cool flame effects on the Terminator guy. And the word bearers, like I actually do love the word bearers design elements, the script, the demonic influences,
the tattoos and all
the
that.
tattoos and the religious like iconography. I do love that design. I just wish they didn't suck so bad.
Yeah, I'll say I read Aaron Nimsky-Bowden's like books about the word bearers and loved those books. And at the end of it, I wasn't like, I want to paint some word bearers. I was like, no, I want to paint some Ultramarines.
There you go. All right. Angels of Death got a new trailer. This is the CGI animated Blood Angels story that the Storyforge is putting out. And hey, it looked great. We talked about how the Death's Hand stuff, we prefer that aesthetic to it, but I think the Angels of Death trailer looked fantastic. It is color-wise, I think, very striking.
It's doing the Sin City thing where it's black and white and then a dash of red here and there, which I think is maybe a little overdone, but I think works for this sort of thing. I have this gut feeling that's going to be very pretty, but utterly incomprehensible as a narrative. I just have that feeling. And when they talked afterwards, all these things came with a little discussion with someone involved afterwards, which I actually really appreciated.
Yeah.
But when they talked with, I think Andy Smiley afterwards, and he's talking about the characters, I'm like, oh yeah, I know that archetype. I know that archetype. I know that archetype. I've read stories of all these characters before. So whenever this does come out, I'm just going to be watching it for the visuals. I do not think the story is going to sing to me too much, but I might be surprised.
Yeah, well, there has yet to be a Games Workshop TV show. So I'm going to withhold judgment until after the fact. They also showed a couple of stills. Well, one still and one .gif from an upcoming project that they were sort of quiet about. And they are very hyper detailed computer renderings of some characters, and it looks fantastic.
Yep, it does, but it's hard to get excited about a spinning head.
Maybe for you. They also released a teaser about a giant battle tome, not a large battle tome, but a battle tome for giants. Mm-hmm. And again, not for human giants like Andre the Giant, but for fictional characters in a tabletop war game called Giants.
Garkins now.
Whatever, who cares? And I thought it was actually a very fun video. And, and honestly, the only reason I'm talking about this is because I liked the video.
Well, yeah, it has that fairy tale presentation like I was just actually talking about the Tree Man, where it is that sort of bit of whimsy. But the Monty Python foot is confirmed to be in this book.
Yes.
There's a lot of Monty Python foot in the Sons of Behemoth trailer.
Absolutely love it. Okay, let's talk about the big 40k release preview for this event. And it was two characters, Ephrael Stern and her friend, the ever-frowning, no-fun-having Harlequin Kieganil? Kegels.
Key and Peele.
Key and Peele. Like, these are great models.
Yep.
Tons of fun. Mm-hmm. Hero rocks.
They're destroying those hero rocks, though.
Okay, well, let's get to that in a second. But these are characters from a 20-year-old comic book that I've never read.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing. But this is just one of those things where the design process for Games Workshop is exposed, where they make their models and then find a reason to sell them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the process for creating a new model is a designer makes it, and then the marketing team and the rules team and the story team figure out how to fit it in.
Yeah. It's always been models first.
These models are great. Ephrael Stern is a sister of battle. She's leaping onto a crumbling wall. It's extremely dynamic. It's a little bit awkward because she has downward movement. Mm-hmm. And so her cloak is flared up behind her and all of her purity seals have popped up going backwards.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to read.
And like her little icons and stuff are all upside down because she's again moving down at what seems great speed. Great model though, very dynamic.
She's just powering out to become Super Saiyan 3. Like she's Gokuing really hard.
She's doing a Marilyn Manson pose on a very large fan. And then her friend.
Marilyn Monroe. I don't think Marilyn Manson has done that
Good
pose.
catch, bud.
Yeah.
Good catch.
Get with it.
Ugh, Marilyn Manson. I've been to a Manson show before, and it was a pretty good time.
Oh, that sounds like a good time. The last time he came through Providence, he bailed after half an hour because he felt kind of sick. That's my Marilyn Manson story.
Not everybody has a good day every day.
Yeah.
And then Key and Peele, her friend, I gotta it's fine. He's sort of just standing there.
I think he's very cool. He looks very much like the I can be your devil or your angle sort of meme. Like
you know what? Thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Well,
it's nothing personnel with this guy.
It is nothing personal. And while Ephraim Stern was partying in college, he was studying the blade.
He was studying two blades, if his model has anything to do with it. Yeah, so these models look great, but again, it's from a IP that I just don't know anything about and don't care about.
Yeah, they're great models to me in a bubble, but I don't really have context for them.
Yeah. So then we get a little bit of reveal about what's coming up in Psychic Awakening, and there's like a whole bunch of factions are going to get new rules, which, we just needed more of new rules. I think that was kind of the big preview for this one.
They followed it up the same way as the last one by ending on a kind of almost tacky note, which was if you buy a gift voucher, you get like 10% back or bonus. So,
right. Yeah.
It felt very much like, that's, again, a sort of nice thing if you want to jam that in the middle somewhere. But that being my big takeaway, it feels a little tacky.
Yeah, for every 50 pound or local equivalent of virtual voucher, they'll add in another 5 pounds for free.
Mm-hmm. It's $100 American, which is that's a laugh that the pound is like that with the US dollar right now, but whatever.
Yeah. So again, another little bit of a wet fart for the end of these things. And then they said there's a third preview now on April 18th.
Yeah, they're skipping a week. So I don't know if there's going to be a fourth after that, but I feel like they haven't done anything for Necromunda or Titanicus or Aeronautica, and they've done not that much for 40k aside from like these two characters. So I assume that's where they're saving that stuff. So I'm looking forward. I mean, of course I'm looking forward to it. Any reveal is I'm going to get something out of it. But these two reveals they've had so far, I felt like my wallet was pretty safe from both. So
yeah, well,
hit me with it.
I love the Tree Men. Mm-hmm. If I ever get to doing a Wood Elf or a Halfling team, they will definitely get bought. But for the most part, I'm actually not too concerned with this at all, which is nice.
I never mind cool stuff for other factions. Just I'm safe.
All right, let's move on to We Make the Call, where we, guess what, make the call. We got a comment on our website from Alex. And it says,
I removed this from the spam folder.
What's your opinion on third-party models? You mentioned Mantic on the latest episode and as an affordable alternative. But in my experience, most options are more equivalently priced or more expensive, at least in the UK. I've picked up some alternative models in the past year, both because the official sculpt is dated and goofy, Demon Prince in parentheses, and for some variety when it comes to duplicate character options. I get the impression that bits are widely accepted, but that people are more leery about outright alternative sculpts. Campbell, what do you think about that?
It depends on the sculptor. And like GW has a very specific sort of aesthetic that a lot of people imitate and some people do better than others. Like I remember Chapter House Studios back in the day, all their shit looked kind of like it was sculpted on a Play-Doh to me. So I was never down with that stuff. Again, if it makes you happy, but they didn't really get it right. I feel like on the other hand, Victoria Lamb, she gets it pretty much right. Like it is that heroic scale. Like it looks a bit more like sculpts looked in maybe 4th edition, 3rd edition or whatever, but in a really good way.
Her stuff looks a little late 90s, early 2000s to me, but it's not, it's well done. It's very well done.
Yeah, it's well done.
No shade at Victoria Lamb over here.
And if you have Victoria Lamb guard regiment, well, first of all, it's going to cost more than a GW guard regiment, but it's going to look pretty fucking cool. Like I've played against armies made up of her models before, and it's always a pleasure to see them on the tabletop.
Well, what do you think? Like on the tabletop, are you a purist? Do you want to see only GW models across the table?
No. I think if it's painted and it's something that makes you happy, I want to see on the tabletop.
What about titty models, Campbell? What about some like a Demon Prince, but it's like an anime titty figurine?
Okay. I may be weeb garbage, but I have never once considered purchasing a Weeby Titty miniature or Weeby Titty statuette for my desk. And I'm not down with that. I feel like we've talked about this a few times, actually, is like hypersexualization is not really something I need here. That's not a chocolate and peanut butter sort of thing for me as far as this hobby goes.
Or
like
shit and peanut butter, like the metaphor I made earlier.
Bringing it back around. And I feel like that's kind of just, you're definitely showing your ass if you have the titty Necrons in your army, you know?
What about like children's toys, like My Little Ponies to represent cavalry models?
Enough about Alessio Cavator. He does have that army. That is actually fairly well documented, I think. I've played against armies that had like...
Wait, what did you say? Who has it?
Alessio Cavator.
Isn't it pronounced Cavatore also?
I thought it was Spanish.
I don't fucking know.
We might have just been very insensitive. I don't know. But I've played against armies with...
Sorry, Alessio. I know you're a big listener.
I've played against armies that have toys converted into stuff.
Even if it was Spanish, it would still be Cavatore.
But it wouldn't be Tarantella. Okay. I've played against armies with vehicles converted out of toys, namely orc armies, or like where they convert model kits, or again, in some cases, even toys into trucks, tanks, whatever. And I feel like those suit the aesthetic better than most things do with the right amount of conversion.
Yep.
But I feel like just plopping down some G.I. Joe action figures or whatever and being like, oh yeah, this is my knight or whatever. No. I feel like you really need to put in the honest effort, and using third-party miniatures, if they're actually like miniatures, not just, random garbage, I think is showing that effort. And I think if that makes you happy and it's clear what everything is, I'm down.
Okay.
I've played enough. Even when I was playing Old Necromunda, I remember one guy in my group had a Delac gang that was made up of, I think it's Heresy Miniatures, who's a third-party manufacturer that made like a lot more dynamic and pretty cool Delacs, and there was no reason not to play with them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
For the record, I'm fine with third-party miniatures. I'm not a big fan of titty miniatures, but
Yep. And
anything else I'm cool with.
Yeah, this thing, I'm not really big into third-party miniatures. Generally, I like my things to kind of look all uniform, because if I have an army of, let's just say, Space Marines, and Butt Nugget Miniatures makes a Space Marine captain that I think is pretty cool, it probably isn't going to match it completely, so I'm going to leave that Butt Nugget Miniatures figure on the case. That's
the same for me. I mean, again, I paint every side of the miniature, even the parts you can't see, because I have to. And so I'm definitely not going to spend money on third-party stuff that isn't going to match exactly, because I need things to match exactly.
Yep.
All right. So our first topic of convo for this episode, and we're like an hour in already. Sorry, I guess. Sorry for the content.
Sorry, and you're welcome. And also, we'll never do it again.
Our first topic is how to organize your backlog. And we're going to go through this, but I have a challenge that I'm going to put forth to our listeners.
Okay.
Coming up. And I think you and I need to participate in this challenge also.
All right.
But we'll get to that at the end of the segment. All right. Organizing your backlog. So right now, everybody's at home. We're not really buying new stuff. We're getting through the backlog. But Campbell, what are you doing to figure out what you're going to work on next?
Well, I'm not taking my own advice, and instead of trying to figure out a way to make my mountain of plastic less intimidating, I'm just going where my whims take me. But that's because I've already fortunately done a lot of this organization already, which has been very helpful for this particular juncture. So if you have a chaotic mess, which I have had many, many times, where it is just like a shelf or closet or whatever, where it's like models, boxes on top of boxes on top of boxes, and it's like, don't move that Land Raider box. It's a structural Land Raider box. Like, I've had this sort of situation before, and it's
a load-bearing Land Raider.
It's going to be chaotic. You're going to lose things easily. I've definitely forgotten I had a lot of plastic. Like, I have pulled out a Land Raider and been like, when the fuck did I buy this?
Yeah.
And that sort of thing. So what you're going to want to do is you probably have the time right now, is you're going to want to find the way to organize this stuff outright. So I would probably start, and, forgive me for fucking plagiarizing Colin Marie here. You lay it out, just like lay out all the shit you got and just figure out what you have and then from there, what you want to work on. And then you can kind of sort things into piles from there. So you can be like, oh, here's my Space Marines, here's my Necromunda, here's my Guard, here's my Fantasy, here's my stuff I don't remember purchasing. And
I think it's a great idea.
yeah, well, it lets you visualize it too, because if you just have a nebulous cloud of things that need to be done, it's very easy to forget that exists and very easy to feel like you're not putting a dent into it. If you can see it in front of you, that helps immensely. And also right now, like there's a lack of structure in a lot of people's lives. So finding something that you can structure willingly how you want is kind of empowering almost. So I would urge you to do that. And from there, you want to find a dedicated place to put this stuff.
Absolutely.
Because
absolutely.
I've definitely had like, this is my coat closet, and underneath and behind the coats is, ooh, look at that. It's a bunch of Cities of Death buildings or whatever. So find some sort of dedicated place to put this. So obviously a closet is a pretty natural one. Attic, basement, if you have like plastic bins to put them in, garage, or
IKEA
whatever.
Sells fantastic foot by foot cube shelves.
Yeah, the Kallax cubes.
Yes.
I've built like 1,000 of those.
I have a knockoff version of that in my basement here that holds all of, well, not all of, but the vast majority of my backlog.
Yeah.
And I've got it like broken up into cubes, into cubbies.
Well, what I see, aside from your Kallax, which is spelled with a C and a CKS at the end instead, I have a shelving system from IKEA for my closet. 'Cause I have a big closet in the office here, and it was like $150 for, I think it was the Algot system or whatever. Like I designed it online, I picked up all the bits, and I just put it together, and it holds all my KR cases, which is getting to be an embarrassing number, and then all my backlog stuff. And I'm able to do like, this stack here is Marines, this stack here is Empire, this stack here is Aeronautica or whatever. And while it might not be the prettiest thing in the world, if you have a closet or like a workspace, basement, whatever, it's really good for it. And it holds a pretty good amount of weight. And fortunately, most boxes of plastic don't actually weigh that much. So you can kind of, stack them however.
Yeah. Yeah. I think shelves, some sort of organizer. I had talked about Bitsbox earlier, and I gave the recommendation for the photography organizer. Yeah, that I know that a couple of people have really enjoyed. There's a lot of great products out there that will help you get your stuff out of a pile, off the ground, into something where it's a lot more manageable.
Well, one of those things, as far as Bitsboxes goes, taking the day to go through all those boxes you have that just have like a sprue with a couple heads and purity seals on it or whatever, and just clipping them and organizing them into, again, bead boxes and so on is like what I use. I use Michael's bead boxes.
Just Lamau if you don't do that at the end of every project when you're building something.
Yeah, that's what I do now, but I used to just group them together. Just be like, oh, if I want a Space Marine bit, I'll go into my column of Space Marine sprues in boxes and go. No, like that's really space inefficient. It's very hard to actually find anything. So yeah, clip your things when you're done and put them in the bits boxes, and you'll see that pile of stuff just shrink in it's very satisfying, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I love like when I love throwing out empty sprues.
Yeah.
There's something about it. Oof.
Yeah. It's the sign of accomplishment. It's like throwing out the apple core, Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay.
Well, I would say also group your stuff together if you can. Because while you may be able to just do like the stack of Space Marine boxes, maybe you've got a bunch of blisters or a bunch of things where you get the sprues that boxes, get them secondhand or whatever. Find some sort of container for that, whether that is just a box or whatever. Like I have almost all my Empire stuff that I haven't built yet, which is a shameful amount, I'll be honest, is in like a USPS shipping box right now that's just like labeled and it's all there together. And if I want Empire stuff, I just dig in there and pull stuff out and start working on them.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to spend a few bucks in organization. I know that's money that could be spent on models or at this particular juncture, a lot of other things that are much more necessary than toys. But when life picks up again and you can find the time and space to do this sort of thing, don't be afraid to spend a few bucks on like this quality of life improvement. I'm not going to
in my cubbies, not all of my cubbies, but I have those cloth organizers, those foldable cloth organizers.
Yep.
And so what I've done, I have two main backlog ones. One is my Necromunda bin, which is There's a lot in there. And that's not counting the terrain from Dark Uprising, which is still in the Dark Uprising box. But what I've done is I've taken all the sprues out and grouped them together and actually affixed them together with rubber bands.
Yeah. That's not a bad move.
And any and I've taken sandwich bags and filled them with the correct amount of bases for each of those, and
nice.
Put that in the rubber bands. And I've also done the transfers in that. So that's what I do when I get a big box of stuff. I divide it up.
Okay.
Most of the stuff that for me is not built that has a box is still in its box.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good to do before you have it done, because it's easy to pick out the box of aggressors on your shelf. It's a lot harder to pick out the 3 sprues that make up the aggressors somewhere in your pile.
Yeah. So that's it, but it's good. It's like, I don't know, I can see it and I'm slowly getting through it. It's good. Yeah. But okay, so we talked about physical space, but maybe we should talk about workflow.
That's a digital organization here is something I think is very important too.
So there's a web client I use called Trello, and I track my progress. So I haven't updated it in a while, but whatever. But still, I think I haven't updated it since like the beginning of the year. So there hasn't honestly been too much change to it, but it's what I use to track my progress. And I find it an extremely useful tool, not only during, but at the end of the year when I can look back and say, oh, so this is how many things I got done this year. But it tracks my, what have I built? Or I'm sorry, what do I have? What's built? What's primed? And what's being painted and what's done being painted. Yeah. With dates all attached to that. And I find that very, very helpful and very, very soothing to look at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
It's motivating, honestly.
Yeah. So it's just all in front of me, and I can say this. I'm going to work. I can drag one column over to the other. And say, now I'm working on this. Like my Phobos Lieutenant is gone from primed to in progress. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's dope. That's different from
makes me feel good.
It's different from my workflow, but like mine is mostly Google spreadsheets, which let you have multiple pages or multiple documents for multiple armies or projects or whatever. So like I have one overall just for the year, which is a paint progress where I write like I bought XYZ at this date. I built it on this date. I painted it on this date or whatever, which makes it very easy to just kind of see what I've been doing for progress. And I'm up to 78 models this year, so doing pretty okay. But
not so bad.
Separately from that, I have a roster for each army, which let's say, for my Daves to Darkness, I buy a new Chaos Chariot because I'm a masochist. I would put that in there and I would color code that in red for unbuilt. And then when it's built, it comes color-coded yellow. When it's painted, it's color-coded blue. And that's what I've got for that army specifically. I'm working on modernizing my other things to be that sort of thing, but I generally have a section of this is ready for the tabletop and this is not ready yet. And I find that to be very helpful because I might think like, oh God, I have so much Marine stuff to paint. But then I go into my spreadsheet and I just say like, oh, I have this character, this dreadnought, these 5 dudes. That's easy. And
that's easy.
That's not hard. And having these sorts of things just kind of spread out like that, project by project, is super helpful, I think. But you do what works best for you, man.
Yeah, but I think it's just important, just for our listeners and anybody else to just get organized somehow.
Yeah, it's free. Like it's gonna take you some time, which you probably have right now. Which is pretty helpful. But I've got one last bit here, though, on organization that I think is essential, which is purging stuff. And I think any organization effort is going to involve a bit of this, whether that is...
Does it spark joy, brother?
Well, but whether this is just getting rid of the empty cardboard boxes and sprues or getting rid of like that project you'll never get to, that kit you'll never get to or whatever. Like when I did this big organization that I've got right now, that I did a few months ago, I got rid of like pounds of cardboard from like second ed templates and army cards and so on. Yes, Rob, I know you gave me those cards. I'm sorry, but it's just, I wasn't going to use them. I'm never going to use them. I don't want to play second edition 40k. Like, and if I do, I'm probably not going to want all this shit hanging around for when I do. Just, it wasn't doing anything for me. So I got rid of it, made more space, and that space thing be taken up with models, either painted or not. Like, it's important to kind of figure out what you're going to work on. And I think it's pretty cool to kind of like look at, even in that initial planning stage where you kind of take everything out and lay it all out. If you go like, okay, this Marine pile, I want to tackle that. This fucking dark elf pile that I bought in 2008. Don't think I'm going to tackle that. Maybe I should get rid of that. And by purging stuff and selling it off on eBay or whatever, you can potentially offset the cost of any sort of purchase storage solutions you enact.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's a pretty important part, and making more space also feels good.
Yeah. I think those are some good recommendations, but I want to talk about this challenge.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The 40k Badcast backlog challenge.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to set my backlog out on my basement floor and I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to post this picture.
Oh God.
And I want you, Campbell, and all of our listeners to do the same.
Oh, Anna's going to be so mad at me.
Take your backlog, take it all out, put it out there, take a picture of it and send it to contact@40kbadcast.com. I want to see your backlogs.
Dude, Dylan is going to need to use the panorama function on his phone to get a picture of his backlog. Like this.
I want to see it, Dylan. I'm talking to Dylan right now. Everybody else stop listening. Even you.
Okay.
Even you, Campbell.
I'll put myself on deafen.
Dylan, I want to see that backlog, baby. Show me that fucking backlog.
Can I undeafen yet?
Yes, you can. Yes. Everybody else come back in. We're good. I want to see the backlogs, man. I want people to, it's the first step of organizing, right?
Yeah.
Show me that backlog.
I have just dug my own grave here.
I'm going to do it.
Awesome. All right.
I'm going to pull them out. I'm going to put on my floor. I'm going to stand on my couch and I'm going to take a picture.
I cannot promise my cat will not be in there. I'm not painting my cat. Numi is just a very curious creature. All
right. Next segment. This one is called Shut Up and Kiss. And it's when we take a look at the greatest rivalries of Warhammer 40K. And we think, you know what, guys? Instead of fighting, why don't you just shut up and kiss already?
We all know. We're all thinking it.
We're all thinking it.
We're all feeling it. We know they're all feeling it. So why don't they just shut up and kiss already?
Just shut up and kiss.
So I'm going to start with a pretty recent one.
I think I know where you're going.
Ragnar Blackmane and Gazgul Thraka.
I knew exactly where you're going.
You know when there's a breakup and the people involved take it as an opportunity to just like work on themselves and they might like start going to night school again. They might get in shape or whatever. Well, buddy, these guys killed each other and then they got jacked. They got huge.
Yeah, they got huge. Yeah.
So like, you know what?
Yoked even.
They got swole out of control.
Yep.
And you know what? They've had the time to work on themselves. The two of them should just shut up and kiss already.
Shut up and kiss. I mean, they cut each other's heads off for fuck's sake.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't
like
get
what else can you do?
Yeah, it doesn't get more final than that.
Just fucking make up already.
Make up, make out, make peace, and make love. All right?
Yeah. I one thing on that.
Okay.
I'm kind of sad that Yarick's out of the picture now because Gazkul and Yarick, they were together for a long time.
Yeah, this is very true.
Then fucking Ragnar swings in. You know, maybe, I don't know, but Yarick hasn't been to the gym, so.
No, friendship with Yarick ended. Now Ragnar is my best friend.
Poor Yarick.
So next up, a pretty similar one.
Alas, poor Yarick even.
I think, oh man,
yeah,
that is not the first time that joke has been made, and it unfortunately will not be the last.
Oh, right.
So I think in a similar vein would be Marneus Calgar and Abaddon the Despoiler, because like Calgar's crossed the Rubicon Primaris, and there's more to love, baby. And while they're like he got huge too, and
he did get huge. But here's the thing, man.
Yeah,
I don't see Marneus Calgar as Abaddon's foil.
I can't think of a bigger character like who's sub Primarch level. I can't think of any two bigger ones for Chaos and the Imperium.
I think Abaddon's foil is the fucking Emperor.
That's more than fair now. But here's the thing. They're shutting up and kissing.
Abaddon is fucking big shit, dude.
Yeah.
That guy, Marneus Calgar, for how good he is on the tabletop, because he's like really fucking good. He's a nobody right now.
Abaddon is king shit of fuck mountain and Calgar is a desk jockey right now. But I think they should shut up and kiss. And here's the thing. It's shut up and kiss, not shut up and get married. Like,
no, but like
their dads hated each other, but this is about the kids, man.
Yeah, but fucking Calgar's dad is back.
Yeah, he is.
Calgar is firmly playing second fiddle.
Oh my God. Can you imagine leaving someone for their dad? That's savage.
Is savage. But I don't think Gilliman is Abaddon's foil either.
Yeah, Abaddon's a kid to him.
Okay. Well, I guess like Marnius and Abaddon, they're I'm not feeling it, man. I'm sorry. I just don't think so.
It's fine. Chemistry is what chemistry is. What do you got?
Marnius is like, story-wise, Marnius is nothing anyway. He just doesn't matter.
He just gets mad and gets killed over and over again, keeps coming back, but a little angrier and a little tougher each time.
I'm going to pivot to Gilliman.
Okay.
Gilliman and Mortarion.
Mm-hmm.
That is a couple of brothers. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's not Shut Up and Kiss for these guys because they are brothers.
You can kiss. Right? You can just like kiss
on
the
the
forehead,
cheek,
kiss on the
little,
cheek,
little
like
a
familially appropriate kiss,
like other side,
like in the Italian way. Yeah. You got it.
A lot of Tarantella this episode. Gilliman and Mortarion, man, they have been fighting for millennia now, and guys, it's just time to make up. All right, we're tired of it. There's all these big fights. You go out and this family has seen a lot of conflict, right? But these guys, like, I mean, it's great that Gilliman's back on the scene. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks that's a good idea, mm-hmm. right? Maybe not Magnus, maybe not Mortarion, but still, like, he's back. Bury the hatchet. Bury the Emperor's sword. Bury the Man Reaper. No, that's Typhus's weapon.
Yeah.
Bury the big scythe.
Bury the lantern. That's a gun.
Whatever. Like, you guys have had it out too many times. It's just time to, maybe Gilliman can go over to Mortarion's house and help him clean it out.
He needs the help. And
maybe Mortarion can do something to make Gilliman more interesting.
He needs the help.
Yeah, so Gilliman and Mortarion, guys, just shut up and kiss.
I mean, I think, but again, in the brotherly way. But I think in a similar fashion, I've got another family affair for you here, which I think Ahriman and Magnus should. Because, like, yeah, Magnus is like his dad, so paternal kiss on like the top of his head.
Yeah, no. Hey, there's a lot of media out there of getting back in good graces with your dad.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's worthwhile, sometimes it's not. It's varying fathers, but like they're all one.
I have a great relationship with my dad, and I'm lucky. And I'm happy that that's the case. And I feel bad for Ahriman. He messed up.
He did mess up.
Let's just be honest. He messed up.
Mm-hmm. But you know what?
But that's not the end.
Yeah, they're one big psychic family, and there ain't exactly 1,000 sons left, if you catch my drift.
Not anymore.
Yeah, in times like these, you gotta stick with the family you got.
Yeah, and
even if that family is a giant nipple-horned muscle wizard from space, like, you gotta stick with the family you got. Especially.
Yeah, Ahriman and Magnus, just it's time to make up.
Yeah, just shut up and kiss again in that very appropriate father-son sort of way. Big asterisk.
Not the Tom Brady kind of way.
No.
That's a sports joke. Our listeners don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Well, let's let the listeners talk to us about something they might know about, and let us know who they think should shut up and kiss.
Well, I got one.
Oh shit! Fuck yeah!
I think Jane Czar and Drazar need to chill the fuck out. Get back together. Mm-hmm. Get mom and dad back together.
Yeah.
There's all these poor aspect warriors coming from a broken family.
Yeah,
that sucks.
The Eldari Drukhari split was not their fault.
They were in the same box for a while. I think still are. Let's get back together.
Yeah.
Come on, Jane Czar. They have the same last name. Still. Mm-hmm. Czar.
It's like, which I'm sure in Eldari, Czar is essentially Smith.
Yeah. It's time. Yeah. It's been untold millennia.
Yeah, bury the Triskel.
Oh, speaking of my dad's calling me right now.
Oh, cool.
I'm not going to answer, though, because we are recording. One thing at a time, gang. One thing at a time. All right, you got any more?
I got one last one.
Give it to me, baby.
It's gonna be Tigurius and the Hive Mind. I get that Tigurius might fear commitment, and the hive mind won't rest until all consciousnesses are absorbed within it. But he just needs to open himself up to new experiences and surrender his humanity to the giant bug brain.
I feel like there's a little bit of like a political issue here. It's like, it seems to me they're both pretty hardline.
Yeah, they're pretty stoic and they're pretty unshifting. But like
Tigurius is like hardline. I do not want to be part of the blended consciousness known as the hive mind. And the hive mind is like, but I want you to be part of the blended consciousness that is the hive mind. And while you might think that those are two opposite things, I think we'll find that we can meet somewhere in the center there.
I think so. And I mean, while I might say the chase is better than the catch, the Tyranids are pretty good at the chase aspect.
Hey, guys, compromise makes the galaxy spin.
Yeah. Around
its axis. That is known. You got to find a way to work with the hive mind.
Yeah, we all do.
The hive, it's outside of the galaxy. Guess what, y'all? Guess what? It's all hive mind.
So
that's it.
You got to learn to deal with it. And Tigurius is the only person who's ever touched it and survived. So don't you think that's a sign they should be together?
Was that your George H.W. Bush impression?
If it was,
you gotta learn to deal with it.
If it wasn't intentional.
Oh, wow.
The only Southern accent I have is a Hank Hill, and it's not especially good.
H.W. didn't really have a Southern accent. He was more Maine than Texas. It is known.
Old school Republicans, that's how they were. But yeah.
Anyways. That's good stuff, man. That's like, come on, Tigurius. He's got to get over. He's got to get over the hive mind at this point.
And Tigurius.
How about Cassius? I mean, there's a bunch. There's a bunch of Ultramarines who just got to get over it.
And Tigurius and Cassius ain't getting any younger.
Move on.
Ain't getting any younger.
Especially not Cassius. That guy's old as fuck.
No.
All right, gang. If there's any great Warhammer rivalries that you think need to just shut up and kiss, let us know about it. We want to know.
Yeah, this is the important stuff. This is the primo content we are demanding you engage with us on.
Demands. Contact at 40kbadcast.com. That's what we want. All right. It's time, Campbell. Fact or fan fiction?
Well, this show's getting longer and longer, so I've got a pretty brief one here, but it's
good.
All voice work, so I'm going to pour one out from my throat tomorrow. Once upon a time, I wasn't happy on my own planet, but that was before I discovered that it's an Ogren's life in the Imperial Army. I get my own beds, my own rations, foods to you, and laws of drink. I got some great new mates, lots of new abilities, and the social life is really good too.
Thank you for defining rations. That was a tough one. That was a real fucking tough one.
I meet lots of new people on my job, and nobody minds none if I kills them a bit. If you's looking for a career and lots of exciting mints, travel, and you's a healthy young ogre who ain't exactly bright, we's got it. The Imperial Army, to professionals. If yours can pull a trigger, we's got a uniform in your size.
God, I love how your accent just, whenever you do an accent, it just sort of starts shifting towards your SRM voice from your cartoons.
What are you talking about?
They all end up there. So I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go with fact on this one. I think that's GW published materials.
You are actually correct. That is the Ogren Hero, ad copy from 1987.
I'm trying to fuck.
Don't know why you said that there, but yeah, that's from.
I'm just feeling it.
You're just feeling it. Yeah,
just feeling it.
I understand that. I do feel that. But yeah, that's from 1987. The Ogren Hero, designed by Jess Goodwin. I don't know who wrote that at the time. It could have been Bill King. It could have been an intern who we've never heard of before. So yeah. Ogren Hero from Author Unknown.
An actual fact, or fan fiction.
I told you episode 70 wouldn't be totally disappointing.
What a time to be alive. All right, let's do some plugs before we get out of here. Gang, we got a new shirt.
We do have a real good shirt, and it was made specifically to commemorate
Episode 69.
And it might be my favorite shirt we've ever designed. It is at shop.spreadshirt.com/40k Badcast. It is This One's for the Horn Dogs shirt, and I love it. And everyone who purchases it is a horn dog in my heart forever. And actually, I want to do a little bit of bookkeeping here, or not bookkeeping, but okay. So we've called our listeners fuck boys, bad fucks, whatever. But boys is gendered. I mean, sort of at this point.
It is.
At this point, everything is a bit abstracted. And bad fucks is not something you can generally say on social media too often. Although I usually write with 2 C's, so it's okay. But what do you think about calling our listeners horn dogs?
I love it. I think it's great. I think gender neutral.
Yeah, and I think every episode should be for the horn dogs.
Where is it?
This one's for the horn dogs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let those dogs bark this time.
Yeah, I'm saluting this time.
Gang, this shirt is fantastic. I highly suggest you buy it and put it on your body immediately. It is just really well done. I, of course, am a wonderful graphic designer and am so good at designing shirts. So go over to our Spreadshirt and pick one up, or 2. There's multiple colors.
Yeah.
You should probably get one in every color.
Yeah.
I feel.
I mean, I think you should. I think you should make like that one Batman comic where he wore a different color of the rainbow every single day for a week so people wouldn't know that Dick Grayson was injured. I think you should do that, but with the horn dog shirt. I think it's going to be a really strong statement. Or wear them all at once and suffocate. Up to you. I don't recommend you suffocate, but you do you.
Okay. Well, I need to ask our listeners to do me a favor. Other than the backlog challenge, we need questions for We Make the Call, y'all. Get over to our email, contact@40kbadcast.com. Send me questions so that I can use on the show, and also send us pictures of your entire backlog. I'm really excited. I mean, 4 people are going to do it, but those 4 pictures are going to be so good.
I'm looking forward to the one person who just posts like a single unopened blister of like Lieutenant or some shit.
I will. I wish.
You disgust me, person who has restraint.
Unbelievable. We have a Patreon where you can listen to all sorts of fun stuff.
Yeah,
on there.
That's
patreon.com/40kbadcast.
Yeah.
We're going to be, we just put out our free to everyone April Badcast content. Bad boy. It's, I guess we got to change those names now, don't we?
I think
maybe not.
I think the umbrella term is going to be horn dogs. I'm going to change the $1 to honorary horn dog.
Okay.
Because you're all horn dogs to us. But I think I'm just going to keep those for the alliteration for now at the very least. Also because I made animated GIFs of them and I don't feel like doing new ones.
There you go. So that is out. We have a ton of other episodes out. There's new fuckboy content out. It's great. It's great. And also, if you are a supporter of the show, we will be sending out information very soon on what our hangout and hobby is going to look like, and how to get with us. This is probably a night in East Coast time, sometime in the next week or so. 2 weeks? Yeah, 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks to a month or so.
Soonishly.
If you are a subscriber via Patreon, you will get that information and you can join in.
Last but certainly not least, Goonhammer. We both contribute to on the regular. You do Necromonday, among other things. I do occasional painting articles, including How to Pet Everything, where you actually came in here too, and which is all about painting pets in Warhammer, which is super fun. And I also got to contribute to Coda Tyler's Pets of Goonhammer article, which was a wonderful read during their April 1st goofs. So head on over to Goonhammer, read all the good stuff there, have a good time. It's the basically only good Warhammer website on the internet right now.
Pretty much. And the real last one, sorry, Campbell, the real last one is you can get us at social media. Twitter is probably the best place to do it. I am at DB_Sleazy. He is at Brother SRM. You're also on Tumblr at Cam2D. Get at us, y'all. We want to engage with you in any way we can because we love our little baby horn dogs.
Each and every horn dog is sacred.